Another principle of visual imagery, perceptual equivalence. Fink's second principle of visual imagery has to do with the similarities between the construction of images and the perception of real objects and events, which we sort of saw with the Shepard and Metzler task. It states that imagery is functionally equivalent to perception to the extent that similar mechanisms in the visual system are activated when objects or events are imagined as when they are actually perceived. In other words, many of the same kinds of internal processes used in mental visualization are used in visual perception as well. And we might think this. A related group of studies, including many more experimental controls, was reported by Farah in a relatively recent series of study dating back only 39 years. So participants were asked to form an image of a certain letter, for example, an H or a T. Soon after, they were presented with one of these letters, but at a very low level of contrast, making the letters very difficult to see. They were very faint. Those who imagined a letter first were more accurate at detecting the actual presented letter than they were at detecting another letter. So the results suggest that imagery can prime the visual pathway in detecting an actual stimulus. So if I'm just imagining that H and it appears very faintly later, then I could detect that better than I could an image that's presented of a T that's presented very faintly later. Just imagining the H allowed me to pick up on that H later. A very clever experiment that's sort of analogous to a Parkin and Street experiment that we'll talk about later. But their ultimate point is that imagining and perceiving are equivalent in many ways. As is with the case, just parenthetically, I'll relay this, that when you're imagining a song in your head, when you've got a song in your head and you can't shake it, it's amazing how correspondent that is, or similar it is, to the activity that happens when you're actually hearing the song in the temporal lobes. There's a lot of suggestion out there that those temporal lobes are firing away when your favorite song is playing in your head.